Happy birthday, dear Maxie. Happy birthday to you. Wow. Yeah.
Goodness. Dina Shacknai remains convinced that her 6-year-old son, Max's death was not an accident. Very strong woman. She was crying seconds ago, and now she's putting on a good face for you guys. She hired a forensic pathologist, Dr. Judy Melanik, to investigate. Dr. Melanik joins us via Skype from Israel. And Dr. Melanik, you also believe that this was not an accident. Can you tell me what the findings were that suggested this to you?
Well, when I was first contacted by Dina's attorneys, they were in San Diego, and they wanted me to investigate the death even as the autopsy was happening. And at the time, I thought it was important to let all the information come to light and let the medical examiner's office complete their investigation without interference. It was only after she got the report from the medical examiner's office, including the report by Dr. Gomez, which included the biomechanics, that she contacted me again via her attorneys and said, this is not making sense. She had contacted Dr. Bove, who was a biomechanics expert, and in collaboration, we worked together for on the order of about 9 months to come to a collaborative process to our combined reports.
And what's in a couple of sentences, keep it easy for people, what is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that there's too much injury on his body to account for the scenario that was presented by the medical examiner's office. The injuries are on multiple different planes. That means on different parts of his body, different sides, top, side, front, back. And it's just too much injury to explain that this was just a simple accident.
And do you have any sense of why the police department is not willing to reopen the case?
Well, I can't speak for the Coronado Police Department. I know that the medical examiner's office met with Mrs. Shacknai and with her attorneys and have gotten our reports. And my understanding is that they are reviewing the reports and keeping an open mind. They can always reclassify the death if they think that the biomechanics and the pathology stand up to scrutiny.
Angela, you think that's a likely scenario where the medical examiner will be the one that really pushes this thing?
You know what? I don't know who's going to push it, but I can tell you that with 3 hours of our meeting with them and seeing this science and this compelling information, I would think everyone at that meeting, and there was a team of people there, would say it's time to reopen this.
Is there a time frame when they're likely to give you their judgment?
They did not give us a time frame. I'm told they're still looking at it. It's really clear to us there's so many specific things they said happened that biomechanically and science-wise couldn't happen.
And then we also have the mom saying,
yeah,
it just doesn't fit with who Max was either. It doesn't fit the circumstance. I have to read a statement from the family of Rebecca Zahau, if you don't mind. It says, quote, "We believe the homicide conclusions are unsupported. Rebecca loved Max as if he was her own son. While our family shares the grief over Max's death, the thought that Rebecca would cause Max harm is preposterous." I want to go to some callers. First caller up is Cassidy in Alabama. Cassidy?
Hi.
Cassidy, what do you got?
The question is, have they ruled out a possible intrusion, maybe? Because from what I heard last show, the father was not in the home.
You mean like just some random act of violence?
Yeah.
Angela? Or go ahead.
Well, you know what? We don't know. Like I said, there was 3 people we knew in the home, and all we know is this was an assault scenario resulting in his death.
Jeannie in Michigan. Jeannie, you got a question?
Yes. I've been following this case from the beginning, and I thought at one time they said it was Rebecca who was in the shower, and last time I watched your show they said it was her younger sister. Is there any possibility that the little girl beat him up before she got into the shower?
Or were there other ancillary players here that have not been sort of properly vetted, let's say? What do you think? Angela's you're looking at each other.
Well, I think, again, it's the same answer. There were 3 people in the house. We know Zena was interviewed. I don't know that interview went far enough to really find out what she not only maybe saw but heard. We're not accusing her of anything, but we are saying there was an assault that happened in that house that resulted in his death.
What is it you imagine happened? That somebody beat him and threw him over the side?
According to Drs. Bove and Melanik, there was an assault scenario, and he has a fracture on the top of his skull, which means
Like straight on the top.
Straight on the top.
Dr. Melanik, is that the big question mark in this case? How he got the fracture on top of his head?
Well, it appears that he fell onto the top of his head. So when you look at the autopsy photographs, the fracture really is on the midline vertex, which is the top of the head. It's not at the front right face, which was what was delineated in Dr. Gomez's initial biomechanical scenario. So if you've got a fracture to the top of the head, which is where he landed, then where are the abrasions on his back, on his neck, on his face coming from? And when you look at that photograph, the one that you're showing
right,
now,
does not show a top of the head.
depicted.
That's a different scenario. That's landing, as you said, on the side front
Correct.
part of the head. Dr. Melanik, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you
face.
setting aside on the face on this particular